Being consistently successful on the water is all about the little things, and mastering the fine details can translate into big outcomes. We join Z-Man pros on the water to gain insight into the nuances and adjustments that can help anglers of all skill levels turn an average day on the water into an epic one.
Wow, what a meat dog right there.
This is Project Z, breaking down the bite. On a mostly cloudy, late fall morning in one of the nation's premier spotted bass regions in North Georgia, Z-Man Pro Brian Latimer puts his electronics to work looking for schools of shad or herring. Typically, the late fall migration of bait fish into the creeks attracts bass to long tapering points and road beds where they can ambush this bait as it migrates. Brian positions his boat over a 40-foot contour and runs a zigzag pattern along the outside edges of an offshore road bed that he identified. He watches his craft looking for isolated timber or man-made brush piles, where spotted bass will roam the perimeter looking to chase bait to the surface or hide from bait fish swimming higher up in the water column. Brian prefers a power finesse setup on clearwater fisheries in the fall. He uses a 7-foot, 6-inch spinning rod with a 6-to-1 spinning reel, with 12-pound braid and a 7-foot, 10-pound fluorocarbon leader. Prepared for anything, Brian has a light and heavy setup. His light setup consists of a 4-inch Big TRD and the Deal color, which mimics dying shad extremely well, with a 1/10-ounce weedless power finesse shrooms jig head. This setup results in a slow sink rate, allowing the bait to remain in the strike zone longer, and is perfect for when fish are schooling near the surface or suspended above structure. Brian's heavy setup uses the same TRD rigged on a 1/5-ounce weedless power finesse shrooms. This setup lets him make long casts and provides a faster sink rate to get down quickly to fish on deep structure. Brian passes over an isolated brush pile in 20 feet of water with a few fish on it and marks it with a waypoint. As he continues on, schooling bass break the surface 60 feet in front of him. He shuts down, jumps to the front deck, grabs his lighter TRD setup and delivers a strike straight into the school. A precise cast will increase the odds of hooking up when targeting open water schooling fish. Seconds later, he feels a fish hit the falling Big TRD. Brian reels down until he feels the fish loading up on the rod and applies pressure by lifting his rod tip higher and reeling, all in one continuous motion. Due to the jig head's open hook design, a hard hook set isn't required. As the fish continues to fight, the sharp hook burrows deeper into its mouth. After a short battle, Brian boats the fish. Not satisfied, Brian grabs his heavy TRD rig and heads towards his marked brush pile. Many times, larger isolated fish will position on a structure under smaller schooling bass and feed on the dying shad that fall to them. His heavy setup will get through the smaller size fish suspended a few feet below the surface and to the bottom faster. Brian positions his boat on the deeper side of the road bed and lines up a 50-foot cast to the brush pile, keeping in mind not to overshoot it. This ensures the bait will be on the correct side, making it easier to move a fish away from the brush after it bites. After casting, he leaves the bail open, allowing the bait to free fall to the brush pile. Once the line stops spooling, he engages the reel and slowly drags the weedless TRD rig through the tree limbs. The buoyant Elastec material of the Big TRD causes the bait to stand up off the bottom, resulting in a very lifelike appearance. The weed guard on the shroom's jig head keeps the TRD from getting hung in tree limbs or other bottom hangs. As the TRD falls off a limb, a fish grabs the bait. Brian reels down and pulls hard with his drag set tight. The tighter drag on Brian's heavy setup lets him move the fish away from the cover quickly and out into open water. With the fish in open water, Brian adjusts his drag, and after a few quick runs, he lands a healthy 4-pound spot. Using his electronics and mapping to locate high-percentage offshore ambush spots, good boat positioning, and applying the correct TRD shroom setup for the right situation, all help Brian Latimer successfully break down the fall bite.